Hey, so it's after hours. As you can see, it's nice and dark outside. I have the museum to myself, and so I thought I'd do a quick little guided tour. We're quite known for our cars, but I wanted to focus on airplanes and propeller-powered cars. So I have here the Minier Flying Fleas hanging up from the ceiling. These are ultralight aircraft with two wings rather, instead of ailerons at the back. They are famous for being unstallable, so quite easy to fly, although I haven't flown any of them. And up here over the kids' play area, we have two little ultralight craft that are made, I don't know if you can see, but these are made from ladders. Those are actually step ladders that make up the frame of the airplane. And funny story behind this, the company that was selling the ladders to the ultralight company didn't know they were being used for airplanes. And when they found out, they cut off the ultralight company, banned them from buying their ladders anymore so they wouldn't be sued in case of an accident. And over here, this one is a little different in that the ladder that it is made from is for rose bushes. That's a rose bush ladder. So imagine somebody saying, hey, I've got a great idea. Let's take this ladder and put an engine at one end and a tail at the other, wings on top, wheels below, and we'll make an airplane out of it. And then someone else comes along and says, hey, that sounds like fun. I'll fly that. And then over here, we have a propeller-powered vehicle that's used on frozen lakes. And this was actually built and used by an ice fisherman in Michigan to get to his favorite fishing spot quickly and easily on the frozen lakes. And there is a trap door underneath, so he would get out to a good spot and then open the trap door underneath and make a hole in the ice and drop his lure in and fish from inside his little craft out of the wind and rain and snow and whatever else was coming down. Now here on the floor, we've got our Wingless Wonders exhibit. And this is everything from these propeller-powered bicycles. Over there we have a propeller-powered sled. I want to do this vehicle here a bit more justice in a moment. We have this canoe, which looks like something out of a Roger Moore Bond movie. And then we have these propeller-powered cars. And so the idea was that perhaps cars would have propellers for power. And this was back before we knew exactly how cars were going to turn out. They were still a very new idea, and we didn't have a specific formula to go by. No regulations of any kind, and so people just built whatever they thought would work. And the reason for propeller cars was because they're very lightweight. They have very few moving components. Really the only thing that moves are the wheels and the engine and the prop. There's no heavy drivetrain, there's no transmission, just an engine, a prop, and some wheels, and a fearless driver. They're pretty neat, but I would not want to drive one where there are any pedestrians. And then this vehicle was built by Tatra in the Czech Republic. This is actually a replica of the original. The original was found by the Nazis and tested and I think destroyed. Or no, actually no, it is somewhere still in Europe. on display somewhere else, but we couldn't get that one, so we had a replica built. And this is an aero luge. And so what this vehicle is for is going across the snow. And if you were going to start out or drive uphill, you would use this drum that's on the back here. And then once you got up to speed, the prop would take over and you could buzz along a snowy field or road or whatever on the skis with the prop. And it does work. We've actually used this. We actually got enough snow in Tennessee one time to take it out to the director's farm and drive it around. As you can see, it's a rather complicated vehicle to drive with 2 steering wheels and 2 shifters. Oh, the key's in it. Well, it's not snowing, so never mind. And speaking of Tatras, here are some more from our collection. We have the largest gathering of Tatras, largest collection of Tatras outside the Czech Republic. We have these race cars from 1950 and 1927, I think. And then, of course, the amphibious pickup truck, the Corphibian from 1961. This was a prototype built by Pontiac engineers as a side project. Of course, the Dymaxion, which we're quite known for. Now, this is airplane inspired, as you can tell. And it is actually rear engine, but front wheel drive. And it's a 3-wheel vehicle. So it has the 2 wheels in the front and the one in the back. And it steers with that back wheel. And then you sit, you can see you sit actually well in front of the front wheel. So every move you make with the wheel in the back is exaggerated up here from the driver's seat. And I've driven this vehicle one time, and that was enough. The Martin aerodynamic was also inspired by aircraft. And as you can see, there are no doors on this side, but there is one right here. That's the one door, so just like an airplane, you get in on the side and then you make your way up to the driver's seat. Oh, we also have our opportunity in the open road exhibit. This celebrates the 100th year of women getting the right to vote, or actually the right to vote being guaranteed. So we have vehicles representing significant periods of women actually getting out and exploring the open road and their freedoms. Another car with an aircraft connection, my favorite car in the collection, the 1967 Toyota Sports 800, was actually designed by an aircraft designer and uses a lot of aluminum, and it's a lot of aluminum rather, and it weighs only 1,200 pounds, and it's actually a lot of fun to drive. Now over here through the Japanese exhibit and past the Italian exhibit, the German exhibit, the British exhibit, the Propeller Cars exhibit. Over all of them, or at the end here, is the Avid Catalina, which is a home-built craft, and it is amphibious, as you can see. The wheels crank down by hand, so if you want to land on a firm surface like a runway or grass, you can crank the wheels down, but if you want to land on water, you crank the wheels up. And the propeller is actually behind the cockpit there, as you can see. Now, this little bulb on the nose, if that looks familiar, that's because it's a basketball. And I'm not kidding, to balance out the weight of the airplane, to get it to balance right in the air and on the water, they put that basketball in those and filled it with 75 pounds of lead. Anything to make it work, right? And then over on the other side, we have the layout flight trainer. And back in the early days of flying, it was difficult to train a pilot because there was only room for the pilot on board the plane. And so they taught the pilot, the student, as much as they could on the ground, and then put him in a plane and see if he learned anything. And they lost a lot of student pilots that way. So this flight trainer was developed so the student could get a feel for what the controls did once he would get up in the air in an actual airplane. But it was towed behind a car. And you can see there underneath, there's a place to put it on a ball hitch, like you would a trailer, and tow it behind a car until you got up to speed and could feel how the wind reacted on the wings and to your controls. And we rebuilt it, or rather actually built this replica out of 3 little black and white photographs. And then over here, again, inspired by airplanes, we have the Subaru X100, which is an experimental car. Very airplane, jet fighter look to it. This was a car built in the late 70s, early 80s for the goal of getting 100 miles to the gallon, and it actually did it. Now a car that gets a little bit better than that is this Volkswagen Xl1, which gets over 200 miles to the gallon. And as you can see, it's a very sleek design. You might notice there are no mirrors on the outside of the car, and that's because it actually has cameras built in right here. That's the turn signal there, and then there's the camera. And you actually have little monitors in the doors. They're off now, but little monitors in the doors, little television screens to see what your cameras are showing you. And you notice the driver's seat and passenger seat aren't next to each other. The passenger seat's a little further back, and they did that so they could get the 2 people in the car side by side and keep the car narrow so their shoulders don't actually touch. Pretty neat, huh? So, that's this small tour. Oh wait, I forgot to tell you about Stacked. How about that? This was one of the director's ideas. Take a vehicle, stack it on top of another one, then put that on another one, and then put that on another one. And now you have a car and 4 trucks stacked together. Weighs about 28,000 pounds. And took about 2 days to get it in place. It'll probably take about an hour to get it all down, though. Hopefully safely. So that's it for this little tour. Hope you enjoyed it.